are brainstorm. Imagine in 20 minutes and 40 minutes that's given to you, you have to teach your students how to brainstorm. Spend the first 3 to 5 minutes brainstorming out ideas. Write down any ideas you might have on the topic or table. That's why. So when you're presented a table, only choose 2000 the lowest, 2010 the highest. In the middle, there's a plateau kind of movement. Strength through diversity. The best papers will contain diversity of examples and reasoning. As you brainstorm, consider different perspectives. Don't just write your own opinion. Try to play with the graph, with the table. Don't just present a one-sided personal opinion. Pick a main idea. It's extremely important that you pick an angle that will allow you to have a thorough and comprehensive coverage of the topic or table. This is not about your personal convictions, but about writing a concise, rational discussion of an idea. So pick a main idea. In the second part question that I answered, it was, why people these days are so concerned with tracing their roots? Again, after I took that test, of course, there were 3 or 4 of us trainers who took the test. Language trainers, not just general trainers. We talked about our answers. And I found out that some of my colleagues, they answered medical way. Why are we tracing our roots? So because of health reasons. So you can focus that health reasons. On my part, I'm an educator, so social aspect of the human being. I started like, humans are, nobody lives on an island. You see, phrases. Nobody lives on an island. We are social animal, we interact and blah, blah, blah. So I developed my, it's maybe motto 7.5.
Because of the social animals.
Yes. Very, maybe shallow idea. Create a logical flow. Now that you know which ideas you are going to use and focus upon, organize them, put your writing points in a logical order. Now, after having those 3, start your engines, which means start writing. After brainstorming, after having, after picking an idea, now that you have a flow, now start writing. First paragraph. Your first paragraph should have several easily identifiable features. First, it should have a quick description or paraphrasing of the topic or table. The table presents the number of mileage a particular car has used in 10 years. That is your opening. Briefly explain what the topic or table is about. Second, we are still in the first paragraph, okay? Second, you should explain your opinion of the topic or table and give an explanation of why you feel that way. What is your decision or conclusion on the topic or table? Third, that you include in your first paragraph, you should list your writing points. Someone was to only read this paragraph. They should be able to get an executive summary of the entire paper. First paragraph. Body, or the body of the paragraph. Each of your successive paragraphs should expand upon one of the points listed in the main paragraph. Use your personal experience and knowledge to support each of your points. Examples should back up everything. Conclusion paragraph. Once you have finished expanding upon each of your main points, wrap it up, summarize what you have said and covered in a conclusion paragraph. All you are doing is refreshing in mind of the reader the main points that you have made. Don't panic. if your mind goes as blank as the page on which you have to write your paper, take a deep breath, force yourself to mechanically go through the steps listed above. If you're mental block, think of the steps. What should be my first paragraph? What should be my body? What should be my conclusion? Now, the first time I took writing, I did not finish also. The second time, conclusion na lang ko ang. Kasi katulo na kong take, makompleto na gina ko. Why? Because I didn't know there is a strategy in writing without counting. 150 words and 250 words. What I did first, di-count na ko. Dugay ko na human. So obviously, I wasn't able to finish the first try taking IELTS. The second time, okay, naka-conclusion naman ko ang hoping katulo. There's a style that a friend told me. If you're asked 150 words, the first sentence or the first line that you make, estimate it to have 10 letters or 10 letters, 10 words. So you only have to make
maybe 15 lines.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you only have to make 5 lines in your first paragraph, because this contains 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So this is 50, approximately 50 words. And if you're asked 150, so you only need 3 paragraphs, right? So you don't have to count. Don't follow what I did. And as what this strategy said, the first paragraph should contain an executive summary of the entire writing. So you write there your opinion, your a short description of, for example, if it's the first task, which is the paragraph, the table or graph, you explain what's the table. But don't copy. A very common mistake is a graph or a table, it has a description below it. Some students, they just copy. You don't copy it. You'll be marked against you. Why? You're just copying. You paraphrase the description. If it states there that number of miles Toyota cars in 10 years, so without changing the thought, just paraphrase it in your first paragraph. Then whatever you wrote in your first paragraph, explain it on the second paragraph. Support. If you said in the first paragraph that Toyota is best car because of that table, then support it, explain it in the second paragraph. Now, in writing tests, there are different questions that they will ask. For example, why are people these days so concerned with tracing their roots? What kind of question is that? What kind of answer is required for that? It's opinion, right? Why these days people? So if it's an opinion, then you have to answer with your opinion and supporting details. There's also a kind of writing that will present compare and contrast. So if it's compare and contrast type, answer it on the first paragraph and explain it on the second paragraph or the succeeding paragraphs. There is also enumeration type that you need to list down things. So give your answer, general answer in the first paragraph and explain it on the second or third paragraph. Then the last paragraph should be the summary, conclusion. As what they say it, explain, and repeat. But again, in a different way. Kasi kopyahon ra po. Balik-balik. Suggestion. Practice writing a sentence with 10 words per line. So yeah, I just said it. Speaking module. Part 1. This is the easiest actually. Part 1. You will need to answer general questions about yourself, your homes, families, your jobs, studies, interests, and a range of familiar topic areas in 4 to 5 minutes. So if you're teaching, practice asking questions. First part, personal questions. And then, at least tell your students to formulate a general answer with like, tell me about your family. There are students, they can't even memorize, so they keep on changing their answers, right? Part 2, you will be given a verbal prompt on a card and asked to speak about a particular topic listed on the card. You will have 1 minute to prepare before speaking at length and will need to speak between 1 and 2 minutes. Then the examiner will ask you 1 or 2 follow-up questions. Part 3, you and the examiner will engage in a discussion of more abstract concepts and issues which will be linked to the topic you discussed in Part 2. The discussion will last between 4 and 5 minutes. There's a technique here, which I learned when I took my first IELTS. That time, of course, I was asked Part 1, tell me about yourself. So I said, I'm a language teacher, blah, 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 blah. And I'm working from 8 to 4 and just sitting one-on-one. I didn't know that because of those answers, this is actually I don't know if you know this, the first part, your answers, the examiner will pick one part there that would lead to the second, and then pick that part on the second that would lead to the third. So, I was trapped with my own answers. Naprito ko sa akong mantika. Why? Because I answered something about sports that time, sa second part. So, I ended up talking about Manny Pacquiao, basketball, which I don't like. I ended up not saying so much. This is the problem with language, second language learners. If they don't like the topic, they don't like answering, right?
Yeah.
If you ask them, what's your opinion about this? I don't know. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Without explaining so much. Here in speaking test, you are tested. How well you organize your thoughts, you answer, how spontaneous you are, and how talkative you are using, of course, correct English. So whether you believe with what you're saying or not, just say it for the sake of saying something. Which was my mistake.
Don't like Manny Pacquiao.
Yes. Because I didn't like Manny Pacquiao, I didn't answer so much. I